Hello everyone, Larry Satchwell here with another one of my garden to table recipes. Tonight, stewed tomatoes and okra. I love this recipe. I'm the only one that eats it, but you can freeze it. Let's get started. I saw Paula Deen make this recipe a few years back. It calls for 3 pieces of thick bacon. I only have 2 because my wife made a meatloaf for us, and I thought this would go really good with that. And used the rest of it. She didn't know I needed some bacon tonight. But anyway, 2 slices is better than no slices. My preferred method of cutting this up, as you can see, is scissors. I just find it easier to dice it, small pieces. I've got the pot here on medium high, which may be a little bit too high. I think I'll turn it down a little bit to medium low. I just want to cook this until it gets a little bit crispy and renders out the fat. This okra and tomatoes are right off of the vine. I just barely had enough okra. I only grow a few plants because I'm the only one that eats it, but if you don't harvest it daily, the seed pods of the okra that you eat turns into wood. And when you only have, I think I have 5 plants out there, you can't really make a lot of dishes with that amount. But I have 2 cups here, just exactly what it called for. Oh, that smells good already. I'm gonna step away and wash my hands. Same with the tomatoes. Tomatoes are right off the vine. Well, that's looking good. Now, Paula didn't do this, but I'm gonna cook these okra just a little bit. What this will do is take the slime out of it. That's everyone's biggest objection to okra, is the slime taste you get with it. But this stuff is really good for you. I'm just going to cook it a little bit. And then lift it out of here. Now in doing that, I took out most of the bacon grease. So I'm just going to put in about a tablespoon, maybe a little bit less, of canola oil. Because now I have in here a 2 cloves of garlic, and we use the minced stuff in the jar, I love it cheap, and 1 small or medium-sized onion. Now it calls for a small Vidalia onion, and Vidalia onions are super sweet. But I have never seen a small Vidalia onion. So I just want to sweat these. I certainly don't want to burn the garlic. I have turned this down to low, 2.8 on our oven. Now you can use frozen tomatoes for this, but when they're in season, I don't know why you would do that. You could also use frozen okra. So I have 2.5 cups of seeded diced tomatoes. And when you seed the tomato, it's really easy. Cut it in half, squeeze the seeds out. I put them with the okra trimmings. If you do that, you have to add 1/2 cup of water because there's no liquid. If you're using a can, it's fine. So now I can deglaze this pan. I'm gonna turn it up a little bit more. Now that I have my tomatoes in here. All those brown pieces on the bottom, that's money. It doesn't take a lot to deglaze it. So now I've got that deglazed, I'm going to add a bay leaf, In this little thing, I've got a 1/2 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, a half a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, I love saying that, and 2 tablespoons of sugar, and a half a teaspoon of dried thyme. We don't have any fresh thyme. 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 tablespoon of sugar. And actually, since I didn't want to add a lot of sugar, I didn't add a full tablespoon. If I weren't doing this on the camera, I would put all those ingredients in on their own and not have to scrape this little bowl. But I'm trying to do it like they do on the Today Show. In the bottom here, it is completely deglazed. So now that I have everything in here, I'm going to turn it down to low and let it just simmer in here for 10 minutes uncovered. 10 minutes is up, so I'm going to reincorporate all of the okra. If you're using fresh okra, it's going to take a little bit longer than if you're using frozen okra. So about another 10 to 12 minutes. And this time I'm going to cover it. Well, there's the bay leaf. You can add salt and pepper to taste. I use very little salt in my food, especially at the table. I usually don't add any. Karen's meatloaf is always a favorite of mine. That's good. Not a bad recipe. Great way to use tomato and okra. And okra is really good for you. It's got calcium, protein, very few calories, and a lot of fiber. In fact, a cup of okra, I think, like has 8% of the fiber you need during the day. Thanks for watching.